Alright, so I happened to get off early today, and I didn't get off early because of the coronavirus panic that's going around right now, but it just happened to be a slow Monday, so I thought I'd take a moment to do one of these. This isn't really an in-depth video with a lot of planning behind it. It kind of ties into what's going on right now with the coronavirus thing and everything. But it was some meme somebody actually shared in a group that was showing how, right now with what's going on out there, until further information is made available, until more testing is made available, they're kind of advising people not to gather in these large crowds. And somebody I'm in a group with, an anti-AA style type group, that they had posted this thing, and they said, right now with all this panic, do you think the people at AA are still holding each other's hands, or do you think they're using hand sanitizer, even though technically that's a big taboo type thing in some AA circles? And I couldn't help but laugh about it, but it got me to thinking about, there's some part in the big book I remember that said that we can never use alcohol safely in any form whatsoever. And it made me think of there's a couple of different things I wanted to throw out here on this video, but it made me think of these people that were like these alcohol purists when it comes to never using alcohol in any way, shape, form, or fashion, which I thought was ridiculous. But I remember because for years, I mean, I've always done the same thing. Whenever I take a shower, which is every day, and I get out, I just splash some aftershave on, and I put my deodorant on, and I usually do that in the morning when I'm waking up and I'm cleaning up, getting ready to go to work. Deodorant, aftershave, and then when I get off work, I take me a shower, I get cleaned up, aftershave, deodorant, or whatever. But anyway, I was sitting in this meeting one time, and this weirdo that was sitting next to me, he was one of these gurus that got called on all the time, and he was always really dead serious. He never smiled, he never laughed, or or anything like that. He was one of these, hardcore guys. He'd sit there and read the AA Big Book while everybody else was talking. And he was one of those people that had to get called on at the very end, so he could, like, rebut everything everybody else had said. And he says to me after the meeting was over with, he's like, for somebody that just relapsed a few weeks ago, maybe you should reconsider wearing aftershave. I could actually smell a faint smell of aftershave coming off of you when I was sitting right next to you. And I said, aftershave, what's this all about? He's like, the big book says we can never use alcohol safely in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So I don't use mouthwash. I don't use aftershave. I thought, well, do you not use deodorant either? Because that's got alcohol in it. But then he was talking about, he wouldn't even allow any kind of cooking in his home if it had any alcohol flavors or anything like that. By the way, let me dispel something. I remember somebody sharing a story one time. They said that they got drunk and relapsed off of eating rum cake at a Christmas party by accident. That they tasted the rum and they ate the whole rum cake and they got drunk and ended up in the hospital. You can't get drunk off of a cake that's got a flavor, okay? All the alcohol is cooked out of the stuff. All right, it's just like in a lot of fancy restaurants you go to where you see the chefs and they're using vodka sometimes to cook stuff. I don't go to many fancy restaurants anyway, but you know what I'm talking about. Okay, there's no alcohol in any of that food. You can't get drunk off of eating that food. And for the record, I'd like to say that I've never splashed on aftershave after getting out of the shower and said to myself, you know something? I've got alcohol on my skin. I got to go out right now and get intoxicated and wasted and buy a half gallon of vodka because I got some aftershave on. I have never been tempted, to go out and get drunk over aftershave, and I've never been tempted to get drunk over mouthwash, and I've been gargling with Listerine for years. Okay, never had a temptation to drink it either. By the way, I was always one of these people, and I was fortunate enough that I was always, working. Or even in times where I was borderline homeless, I could always go out and, rub a couple of nickels together and make a few bucks cutting somebody's lawn or cleaning up something. So where I could go get me a cheap half pint of dark ice vodka, for like $4 or $5 if I needed to. Well, half pints actually was a couple of bucks at one point. I don't know what it's like now. It's been a while since I've had to drink. But you could get a pint for like a good $4.50 with taxes. I knew because I counted up a lot of change. In order to have the exact change so I could get that pint of dark ice vodka. So it made me wonder. I wonder if right now with what's going on with the coronavirus and everything, if they've banned the use of, if anybody's brave enough to actually bring hand sanitizer to an AA meeting and actually put it on their fingers, because the big book does say we can never safely use alcohol in any form whatsoever. But I think it was funny. The guy was freaking out, saying he didn't use mouthwash, he didn't use aftershave, and well, did he use soap at all? Because I'm pretty sure that has alcoholic content in it. Did he use deodorant? Because I'm sure, yeah, that has alcohol content in it. Or maybe, I mean, maybe not. Maybe he chose to be nasty and stink. He was one of those weird kind of people that never seemed to have a job and never seemed to do anything but make a career out of going to AA meetings. But of course, he was always one of the first that was in line to step on me whenever I'd had a relapse or whatever. But I can assuredly say this: I haven't been drunk or had a drink in a long time, and I'm still using deodorant, I'm still using Listerine, and I'm still putting on aftershave. And right now I actually at the job I work at, we do have hand sanitizer at all the workstations. Which even before the coronavirus thing, it's just one of those things. You handle dirty boxes all day long, you handle freight all day long, and yeah, I mean, we did go through flu season too before the coronavirus kicked off like it did. But I'm pretty sure that there are people out there that's going to, ignore the media, ignore the safety precautions and keep attending these meetings, because there was another meme, and this is going to tie into the other part of the thing I wanted to talk about. There was a meme online that someone shared from some AA person, and it said something like, "So you're not afraid to share needles when you're in your disease, but you're too terrified to trust God and go to a meeting." And that reminded me. I remember a lot of times in AA, I was told bullshit stories like that. Like, I remember one AA meeting they were trying to have. It was in a really, really fucking dangerous part of town. I mean, where people got shot and people got robbed on a regular basis. And I remember saying, well, I'm not, at that time I didn't have a vehicle. And I said, well, I'm not going to walk into that part of town after dark, and risk getting robbed and shot, even though I didn't have any money at the time. They would have been disappointed. They'd have probably shot me because I didn't have anything to give them. They would have really irritated them. But everybody, of course, the gurus and the wise ones and all of that, they were saying, well, if the liquor store was the only liquor store in the world was in that bad part of town and you needed a drink at 3 a.m., I bet you'd have gone there, wouldn't you? Well, see, that's something that never made sense to me. Part of the perks that I've seen in my own life of quitting an addictive substance, of not doing irrational things due to being hooked on booze, like driving drunk, or like, literally having a drink when you first wake up in the morning. One of the major perks of quitting an addiction is that you don't make stupid, irrational decisions any longer. I mean, like I said, I've mentioned down here before about DUI and stuff like that. There's no way I would even conceive right now, after having been so long without a drink, of even trying to get behind the wheel of a car if I was intoxicated. That's almost that's terrifying to me to think about doing something like that. That's so irrational. That's so removed from the person I used to be that wouldn't even cross my mind to do something like that. So I've never got this idea, well, if it was booze over there, you would do it. When it comes to something, that AA people would say to me, like when sponsors wanted me to clean toilets for nothing, they'd say, well, if there was booze involved in cleaning the toilets, I bet you'd be in there cleaning the toilets. Yeah, but see, I quit addictive behavior so that I wouldn't have to do crazy things to get booze. I quit addictive behavior so I could live a more rational and reasonable life. So, I mean, if the logic that these people are pushing for this coronavirus outbreak is, well, if you needed liquor, you'd be out getting the liquor, even though coronavirus was everywhere, may or may not be true. Well, probably true. If I was still heavily addicted to vodka and I needed it to function, and they were trying to confine people, I'd be out buying every half gallon of vodka I could and stocking it everywhere all over the place, so that I'd have to, so that I could stay drunk for a long time in case I did have to go in. But see, the thing that the AA people don't seem to realize is that I quit drinking so I didn't have to live like that anymore. I don't have to worry about Christmas Day, how much booze do I need to buy so I can stay drunk Christmas Day to the day after. I don't have to worry about, oh my God, the holidays are coming and the liquor stores are going to be closed, or oh my God, this is happening and I might not be able to get my booze. That's one of the major perks of not living in addictive behavior any longer, not making irrational decisions. So, I mean, I think it's really ridiculous that somebody would actually put a meme up in some Facebook group, an AA Facebook group is where I mean, I didn't see it in an AA Facebook group. Somebody shared it from one of those to show how irrational it is to say, well, if there was drugs out there or there was booze out there, you'd go out there and do it, whether there was a coronavirus or not. Yeah, but we're supposed to be rational today. Our heads are supposed to be clear. We're supposed to use common sense measures and precautions while there is this virus until it's properly contained. And I do wonder how many of them are going to hold hands in a little circle without any hand sanitizer whatsoever because they can't use alcohol safely in any form, shape, or fashion. It's totally ridiculous. It's completely, totally ridiculous. If you ever look at ice cream, there's a thing in there called chocolate liquor that they use in ice cream. It has no alcohol content whatsoever. It has nothing. You can't get drunk on that at all. Otherwise, little kids binging on their ice cream would be intoxicated. I wonder if they don't touch that either because it's alcohol in some way, shape, form, and fashion. It has that word, the dreaded word, liquor. Anyway, this is just a quick one I wanted to make right after I had an early day today, and not much else. There is something, although I do want to share in a link, and I'll put it in the comments section of the video. It's a kid. I think he's in Washington. I'm not 100% sure. I did buy him a coffee. It's on his website. You can buy him a coffee. Good kid, by the way, for doing this. I wouldn't have done anything like that when I was a high school kid. I was, whatever. But it's an update. It updates about every 20, 30 minutes. But it's got the whole entire breakdown by countries and states and all of that. And it's also got the statistics for like the coronavirus and how many people have recuperated as well as how many people have, suffered serious consequences. He even breaks the chart down to show the people who've got the virus and who are not reporting any significant symptoms and those who are in serious condition at the time. It was a little bit of a relief for me with all the stuff I've been seeing on the news and hearing on the radio and all of that to look at that because, like out of the... Now, of course, like I said, it updates every 10 minutes, so I couldn't tell you what it is today. I haven't looked at it yet. But like out of the 140,000 cases worldwide right now, like almost 75,000 people have recuperated from it. I mean, I'm not saying we shouldn't take this seriously. I'm not saying we shouldn't, take precautions and all of that. But I do think it's a good idea to get some good news about the thing once in a while, versus just all the negative stuff that I've been seeing everywhere and hearing everywhere. But other than that, right now, while the while the virus is going on, I'm going to use hand sanitizer, and I'm going to continue to take showers and use aftershave when I get out of the shower, and I'm going to use deodorant, and I'm going to use Listerine every morning when I'm brushing my teeth because I'm not guided by some bizarre big book that says you can't use alcohol in any way, shape, form, or fashion ever again. Even if you use cooking sherry, you might end up on a bender or something like that. This comes from the same group of people, by the way, who drink a couple of gallons of coffee a day and probably smoke about 6 packs of cigarettes, And I'm a smoker, and it used to get on my nerves how these people would stand outside meetings and say, yeah, I don't need anything to change the way I feel today. And they'd be drinking their coffee, and they'd be smoking a cigarette and lighting a cigarette off the butt of that last cigarette. I don't need anything to alter me today. I just have God and my higher power in AA. Yeah, right. Anyway, stay safe out there while this flu thing is going on, and hopefully I'll get another video up later on this week. But wishing everybody the best, and let's just hope this thing gets contained, and let's hope this thing, gets blown over. Let's hope Israel and Netherlands gets us a vaccine too. In the meantime, see you soon.